My name is Jimmy Park, and I am a sushi chef. School wasn't the thing for me, so I dropped out my freshman year, found my first job being a dishwasher at a Chinese restaurant. I was a dishwasher, but I worked my way up to being a kitchen chef, making fresh noodles. I moved to Colorado where my mom was at, and she found me a job at a Japanese restaurant. I worked there for about 2 years as a kitchen chef and got promoted to being a sushi chef. That guy changed my life. He asked me one day, he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know. What do you mean, what are you doing?" Like, "I'm making tempura." "Have you ever thought about making sushi?" I said, "Yeah, why not?" I honestly thought that it was going to be easy doing it because I was young. Comes to know that it was the hardest thing that I've ever put myself through. It's a lot of patience. His name was Mr. Lee. He was actually my first master mentor. Changed my life. I studied under him for about a good 2-3 years, and he told me one day, "You learned everything from me. It's like you need to fly." He kept telling me, like, if you want to become the best, study from the best. So that's when I started applying to Matsuhisa Aspen for a year and a half as a single father. So I was making really good money, but I gave it all up. And I was literally willing to sleep in my car and shower just to be under like a chef like Nobu and one of my other mentors like Philip Tanaka. After I got my job at Matsuhisa Aspen, I studied under the executive chef there. His name was Philip Tanaka. But I got very lucky, and this is how God works, is that I had another mentor that actually let me stay at his apartment for free. And his name was Philip Kwan. And he was basically the sous chef of Matsuhisa. So it's crazy how things worked out, but I thank God for it. I called Nobu San Diego. That's when my career really started. It was yet the best experience that I had, but the hardest I had. Because one, I was the only Korean out of 7 Japanese chefs with over 20 years experience. They didn't even call me by my name for 1 year, man. I went in there an hour early every day. I didn't even clock in. I prepped all their fish. I made their lunch. I got so good to the point where I studied them and the way they placed all their cutting boards and their knives and how they placed their fish. I mimicked it perfectly, and I did it to the point where after a year later they came in and they looked at me, and I was sweating and I was on eggshells, like I was scared, and they were like, "Jimmy, come here." I went outside with them and we smoked a cigarette, and they started teaching me how to cut live fish. I got a Facebook message from a celebrity chef named Akira Bat. So he called me and told me, he's looking for a sous chef. Come to Vegas at the Mandalay Bay. Unfortunately, things didn't work out due to differences. So I called Nobu's right-hand man. He's the corporate executive chef of all Nobus. And luckily, because I busted my ass at Nobu San Diego, I had a good name to the point where I called him and I told him, "Forgive me, I'm sorry. Is there any way I can come back to Nobu?" He said yes. But instead of coming back to Nobu as a line chef, he sent me to a very respected omakase restaurant in Las Vegas called Kabuto. It's literally a 10-seater. They only speak fluent Japanese, and it's basically a set menu, and you have the option of choosing from 3 set menus. It was even harder then. It just kept getting harder and harder. At Kabuto, it's an eromai restaurant. Eromai means back in the days before refrigeration, everything needed to be cured or salted or vinegared or aged. That's where I learned I think 50% of what I could do right now. It was so hard there that the year that I was there, over 10 sushi chefs quit within the first day. The head chef he was perfection. You know, he was one of those chefs where you come in a minute late, you get chewed out. There was no smiling there. There was no talking. It was all about the fish and you. After I worked there for a year, it goes back to when Shinzan sent me there. He sent me there because he wanted me to learn a little bit more, but I was offered to be a Nobu head chef. I would have been not just the youngest, but the second Korean to be the head chef under a Japanese company. Unfortunately, as much as Shinzan did for me, during that time, the key to my success was not happy. You know, she was lonely in Vegas. She was helping me raise my daughter. She wanted to be near family. So we went to Houston. And I basically gave up my dreams for the sake of the one, you know. And I actually was the most unhappy in my whole entire career. Out of the whole entire 12 years of me or 13 years of making sushi, I actually wanted to give up sushi. I was delivering beer and sake for liquor stores. Did it for about 2 months, and my fiance said that she's never seen me unhappy for the whole 5 years that we've been together. So she purposely went on Craigslist and saw that Dallas Nobu was hiring, and while I was at work, she got an apartment. She borrowed money from her mom and paid all the down payments for the lease and or whatever for the deposit. I came home and she's like, "Babe, we're packing tonight. We're moving to Dallas." And I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, how are we moving to Dallas? Like, we have no money. I have no job there." She's like, "I got it. Just trust me. We're moving to Dallas." She's like, "You better call Shinzan right now. Nobu Dallas is hiring." And I saw it on Craigslist. So she's like, "You better call him." So I called Shinzan again after I turned down a Nobu head chef position. And what's so funny to this day is I remember him telling me when I had dinner with him, he's like, "You're the only guy that turned me down." And I was like, I didn't mean to, you know. I was like, "I'm so sorry." But I called him and he said, "You have an interview tomorrow. You better go to Nobu Dallas tomorrow." So we drove to Dallas the day after. I went to my interview and I got hired. And then we packed all our stuff and we moved. That's what happened. So that's why I'm here in Dallas right now. What is my next steps from here? What I'll tell you is stay tuned, because I have something coming. And I would love to tell you now, but just mark my words, I have something big coming.